The first time someone seriously tries to leave their body through astral projection, they usually focus on the obvious things: techniques, breathing patterns, meditation methods, binaural beats, but almost nobody pays attention to the quiet variable influencing everything behind the scenes, what they put into their body hours before the attempt. Food seems ordinary, almost irrelevant compared to the mystical goal of separating consciousness from the physical shell, yet anyone who has spent enough nights experimenting with altered states eventually notices a pattern. Some nights the mind drifts effortlessly into that strange borderland between sleep and awareness, where vibrations hum beneath the skin and the body feels distant. Other nights the mind is heavy, foggy, anchored to the mattress like gravity itself has doubled. And when you begin tracing those nights backward, the trail often leads not to technique, but to dinner. Imagine someone beginning a quiet personal experiment. For 30 nights, they attempt projection at the same time each evening, recording everything: sleep quality, emotional state, mental clarity, and especially what they ate beforehand. At first the notes seem random. One night after a large, greasy meal the body feels dense and restless, digestion rumbling like an engine that refuses to power down. Instead of drifting toward the hypnagogic state, the mind circles mundane thoughts: discomfort, thirst, the heaviness in the stomach. The attempt fails before it even begins. A few nights later the experimenter eats very lightly: fruit, water, maybe a handful of nuts, and something different happens. The body relaxes faster. The breathing slows naturally. When they lie still in darkness, the usual flood of internal noise fades more quickly than expected. Within minutes the familiar tingling sensations start to ripple through the limbs, subtle electrical pulses that experienced projectors recognize as the body approaching sleep while the mind remains alert. This contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Food is not just fuel, it's chemistry, rhythm, energy distribution, and the brain, which is responsible for maintaining the fragile state of conscious awareness during sleep paralysis, reacts dramatically to those chemical shifts. Heavy meals rich in fats and complex digestion demand blood flow to the stomach and intestines, activating the parasympathetic nervous system but also keeping the body metabolically busy. The mind struggles to enter that delicate balance where the body sleeps deeply but consciousness floats above it. Spicy food raises heart rate and internal heat, which might sound harmless during the day but can subtly disrupt the calm physiological environment required for deep trance states. Sugary foods create a spike in glucose followed by a crash, which often manifests during nighttime attempts as sudden drowsiness or mental haze, the kind where awareness fades before separation can occur. And then there is caffeine, perhaps the most obvious saboteur of all. Many beginners unknowingly drink tea, coffee, or energy drinks in the evening, believing they need alertness to maintain consciousness during the attempt. But caffeine doesn't create calm awareness. It stimulates the nervous system, increasing cortisol levels and brain activity that fights against the natural descent into sleep paralysis. The result is a restless mind trapped in a wakeful body rather than a sleeping one. Yet the relationship between food and projection success isn't as simple as avoiding certain meals. Some foods appear to help, not through mystical properties, but through their subtle effects on neurochemistry and bodily relaxation. Light carbohydrates such as fruit or rice can gently increase serotonin production, promoting calmness without overwhelming digestion. Magnesium-rich foods like almonds or bananas support muscle relaxation, reducing the unconscious tension that often pulls people out of the projection threshold. Even hydration plays a role. Dehydration can create low-level physical stress that the brain interprets as a signal to remain alert, preventing the deep surrender required for the body to fall asleep while awareness remains intact. Over time, the experimenter's journal begins to reveal a pattern clearer than any technique manual. The most successful attempts tend to occur on evenings when meals were simple, light, and eaten several hours before lying down. The body feels quiet, almost transparent, as if nothing inside it demands attention. This silence inside the body becomes crucial because astral projection, if we strip away mystical language, is essentially a battle for attention. The mind must withdraw awareness from physical sensations and shift it into an internal landscape of imagery, vibration, and subtle perception. But when digestion is active, when blood sugar swings wildly, or when stimulants push the nervous system into alert mode, the body keeps calling attention back to itself. It's like trying to meditate in a crowded room where someone keeps tapping you on the shoulder. The deeper psychological layer of this experiment reveals something else as well. Routine creates expectation, and expectation shapes experience. When someone begins eating lighter dinners consistently before projection attempts, their mind starts associating that pattern with success. The ritual becomes a signal to the subconscious that it's time to enter a different state of consciousness. Humans are creatures of conditioning, and the brain loves predictable sequences. Eat lightly, dim the lights, lie down, breathe slowly, and eventually the body begins to recognize the sequence like a programmed trigger, slipping toward the projection state more easily with each repetition. Yet not every result is positive. There are nights when even the perfect diet fails to produce the expected outcome, reminding the experimenter that food is only one variable in a complex system involving stress, emotional state, sleep cycles, and mental discipline. For instance, attempting projection after skipping meals entirely can backfire. Hunger activates survival mechanisms in the brain, releasing hormones like ghrelin and cortisol that increase alertness. Instead of peaceful detachment, the mind fixates on the emptiness of the stomach. Balance, it seems, matters more than extremes. Too much food anchors the body in physical processes, but too little triggers biological alarms that keep consciousness tethered to survival. Somewhere in the middle lies the quiet physiological state where the body is comfortable enough to sleep deeply while the mind remains just awake enough to observe the transition. As weeks pass, the experimenter begins noticing subtle correlations that go beyond simple digestion. Highly processed foods often lead to fragmented sleep, which reduces the chances of entering the deep REM cycles where lucid experiences and projections are most likely to occur. Natural, minimally processed meals tend to support steadier sleep patterns, indirectly improving the conditions for success. Alcohol presents another fascinating variable. While it can make the body feel relaxed initially, it disrupts REM sleep dramatically, essentially destroying the window where conscious separation is most achievable. Many beginners misinterpret alcohol-induced heaviness as relaxation, only to wonder why their projection attempts never progress beyond unconscious sleep. Eventually the journal becomes more than a list of meals and outcomes. It becomes a map of how the physical body influences the most mysterious aspects of consciousness. The realization slowly emerges that astral projection, whether interpreted as a psychological phenomenon, a lucid dream variant, or a genuine out-of-body experience, is deeply tied to biology. The brain cannot escape the body entirely. It works through it, negotiating with hormones, blood sugar, and neural chemistry to reach altered states. Food, something so ordinary we rarely question it, quietly shapes that negotiation every single day. By the end of the experiment, the conclusion is less mystical than expected but far more practical. Success in projection isn't just about mastering exotic techniques, it's about creating the right internal environment. A calm nervous system, stable blood sugar, light digestion, and consistent routines form the invisible foundation beneath every successful attempt. Without that foundation, techniques collapse like elaborate rituals performed on unstable ground. And perhaps the most surprising lesson is how empowering this realization becomes. If something as simple as adjusting your evening meal can change the clarity of your consciousness at night, then the doorway to extraordinary experiences might not be hidden in secret teachings or rare abilities at all. It might begin with the small, deliberate choices made hours before you close your eyes, when the body is quietly preparing the stage on which the mind will attempt its most mysterious journey.